literary sensation. I'm your host, Dan. And in this episode, I am going to be taking a look at this independent comic, WEIRDO, which I was convinced to buy by Chris Pitzer of the great independent publishing house, Adhouse Books. Okay, let's take a look, shall we? Okay, so this book, I've talked to Chris Pitzer, like I said, the great publisher behind Adhouse Books. If you don't know who they are, they've recently stopped publishing new titles, but they're still on a presence on the web with some books they still have available. You should definitely look into it. And we bonded over some great, weird, independent comics. And he's a really nice guy, and he really knows his stuff. And he convinced me to buy this comic from him sight unseen. He goes, "You're really going to like it. It's going to be right up your alley." This is WEIRDO 3. It looked, on this cover, it looks like he's eating this cat. It turns out later in this is a bizarrely drawn cat, but it turns out he's getting a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to help save it. But this is from, this was published in 1980, self-published by the artist, it's done this way. I'm going to, there's a little note here talking about how this is probably going to be the last issue for a while. This is issue 3. It's really, each page is done as though it was a strip. And probably in one of the other issues it might explain more what's going on with that. I don't know if he was trying to sell this. At this time, 1980s, he would have been able to get on that, how the independent, papers in a lot of cities were running alternative type of comic strips. Although this is a little early for that, I'm really not sure where he was going to sell this. But like I said, each page is a strip. Like this one is strip number 98. Now this comic that Chris sold me has a little bit of damage and smells kind of bad. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like he only printed 1,500 copies of this one. This is issue number 20 of it. So I don't know what the deal is. What smells like some kind of pickling. He spilled a jar of pickles on it. No, it's kind of vinegary smelling. But anyway, so each page is a strip. And the WEIRDO, our guy there, is a superhero vigilante kind of guy. And he's this kid comes from, on the first page there's an experimental rat has escaped. He goes to a junkyard to take up residence, and some kids complain about the fact that there's a weird rat at the dump. So he grabs this poor cat by the tail and throws it in there to take care of the rat, and the rat throws it right back at him. And the rat's going, "Here comes the joik what threw the cat in here." And so the WEIRDO is going to take care of the rat with a board with a nail sticking out of it. But then he realizes how much more difficult, how smart the rat is, so he decides to set a booby trap. He puts a piece of cheese on top of a box that has a bomb in it. But then he accidentally blows up a regular rat and not the super rat. Then the guy who created the super rat comes, and he wants Weirdo to catch him alive. And he tells him, here, use this mucus bomb. And so he tries to throw the mucus bomb, but it blows up on Weirdo. And so the Weirdo is covered in mucus. And then the scientist has another gadget for him to use on the rat, but he decides he's just going to go and use his strength, which he doesn't really seem to be super powered or anything. But he does. The rat does attack him. He manages to catch the rat in his hand and thunk it against the board. The next guy's going, what? My rat? But is it dead? No, it ain't. So he's captured the rat. Then we're introduced to, in strip 106, we're introduced to a little girl who likes to ride her bike everywhere. She has a terrible home life, a mean mother, a father who has stolen plutonium so he can make a bomb. She's always getting in trouble at school. These kids laugh at her, so she beats them all up. Then she finds her father's plutonium, and she creates a super powered bike. And the bullies who bother her, she uses the super powered bike. It blows them into the wall. Weirdo comes to check her out. Then it turns out there's two villains, two Russian agents, sleeper agents, hiding in the sewer, waiting for their time to come forth and help take over the United States. So then there's a huge, long time where the villains capture the girl. She's stuck in the sewer. She manages to get a message to the Weirdo, and then they have the rest of the time is pretty much spent. There he is giving mouth to mouth to the cat to revive him, and the girl escapes the sewer, but now he's trapped here in a supposedly ingenious trap. And then, he did print this page wrong, so you even have to flip the book for this page. The little girl has been hurt. She's in the hospital. She might die. The dad's gleeful about that, and it just keeps going on and on. Anyway, is this an independent comic? Yes. Is it weird? And does the artist seem to have a strange viewpoint? Yes. All the things that we were talking about liking. The thing is that the other thing is, what does the strip unintentionally say that's interesting? I actually think this guy is he was inspired by the Stranger of the maybe Underground's alternative comic things at the time. I think he's done exactly what he meant to do. I think this is the comic he meant to make. So it doesn't have that angle. Then there's a couple strips in the back that seem semi-autobiographical, and some gag cartoons and stuff. And so it's an interesting comic. I'm not sad he convinced me to buy it. And when I first got it, I was kind of going well, Chris, this isn't really what we talked about. I didn't say it to him. I didn't talk to him since then. I was hoping I'd run into him like this coming the Baltimore Comic Con and the Small Press Expo, which crazily enough this year are both on the same weekend, which really sucks. It's also supposed to be a weekend I go out of town, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But the last couple times I've run into him, it's been at those places, so I was going to talk to him then. But anyway, this is the Weirdo. It's not exactly what I expected. And I saw somebody online going like, "Thanks a lot for convincing me to buy the Weirdo." So he's talked at least someone else into buying copies of the Weirdo from him. So I'm wondering if he's sitting on most of the press run of this comic, and so he's convincing everyone to buy them, because he's sitting on a bunch of them. I don't know. I'm joking. I really am joking, but it's a weird comic. It's very weird. Like I said, it doesn't have the certain something I thought it was going to be after the things we had talked about, but it is definitely weird. It's definitely one voice and very strange. It's supposed to be funny. It is somewhat funny, but very definitely, if you're into weird independent comics, you might want to check this one out. I would suggest going to the Adhouse website and messaging Chris, because I think he's probably sitting on them. I think he's probably got a bunch of them to sell. That's all for now.